Hi everyone, I'm Beth Strathman from Firebrand Consulting, where I help middle managers and team leads build high-performing teams through practical, human-centered leadership. Today, I'm digging into one of the most important and most misunderstood leadership capabilities, emotional intelligence. Not the fluffy kind, but the real strategic skill set that drives trust, collaboration, innovation, and performance. So today I'm going to talk you through 3 emotional intelligence qualities that every leader today needs: vulnerability, intellectual humility, and the ability to value mistakes as essential for learning. These are game changers for the kinds of teams that you're responsible for. So let's start with why emotional intelligence matters. Decades of research from people like Daniel Goleman show that emotionally intelligent leadership is the foundation for more effective leadership and for creating psychological safety. And we all know that psychological safety is the number one predictor of high-performing teams. Teams do not thrive because their leader has all the answers. They thrive because their leader creates the conditions, creates the environment where their people feel safe to speak up, to experiment, to challenge assumptions, and even fail without fear. Using emotional intelligence is how you create that environment. So let's turn first to vulnerability. Now, vulnerability is not about oversharing. It's not about dumping your stress onto your team. It is strategic transparency, being honest about challenges, uncertainties, or lessons learned in a way that builds trust and connection. So here's why that matters. When leaders never admit mistakes, never acknowledge uncertainty, or never show emotion, their teams learn to hide their own struggles, their own uncertainty. They stop learning. They stop taking risks. They stop bringing up the things that matter. Appropriate vulnerability sounds like, I don't have all the answers yet, but here's what I'm considering. Or, here's what I learned from that decision. Or even, I missed something here. Let's talk about how we adjust. Every time you show vulnerability in these ways, you're modeling the mindset that you want from your team. You're saying it's safe to be human here. And when your team feels that, their creativity, accountability, and collaboration skyrocket. Next, let's look at humility, and specifically intellectual humility. Now, this is a huge shift for most leaders. Having intellectual humility means recognizing that you don't have the full picture and that your team's thinking is essential to making better decisions. It's the opposite of needing to be the smartest person in the room. And systemic team coaches like David Clutterbuck and Peter Hawkins talk about moving away from heroic leadership with one leader doing all the thinking and towards collective leadership where the team thinks together. Intellectual humility makes that possible. So here's what it sounds like in action. What am I missing? Tell me where you disagree. I'm open. I'm updating my view based on what you just said. Leaders who show this kind of humility earn more respect, not less. Their teams feel trusted and valued, which means that they take more ownership and offer better ideas and operate with more confidence. And finally, let's look at valuing mistakes and failures. Teams don't fail because they make mistakes. They fail because they hide them. Patrick Lencioni talks about the fear of being wrong, looking incompetent, or just being judged. When that fear takes root in a team, you get silence, hesitation, and stagnation. Emotionally intelligent leaders do something radically different. They normalize mistakes as part of learning, and they do it out loud. When you do this, you might say things like, "Great, we discovered something. Now, what does this teach us?" Or, "How do we build on this insight?" Or, "What assumptions did this mistake help us to see?" This shifts the team from blame to insight, from self-protection to experimentation, and from fear to growth. Remember, innovation requires trial and error. If your team is afraid to fail, they'll never innovate. It starts with how you talk about mistakes. So let's wrap this up with the bottom line. Emotional intelligence isn't a soft skill. It's a strategic leadership advantage. When you demonstrate appropriate vulnerability, intellectual humility, and a willingness to learn from mistakes, you signal to your team, this is a safe place where we learn, grow, and think boldly. And teams rise to that invitation. If you want help with these skills, let's talk. I'll put a link below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if it resonated with you. Thanks again. I'm Beth Strathman with Firebrand Consulting, and keep leading with courage, curiosity, and character.